Alright, so I'm going to teach you 3 hacks in this game that, frankly, are just mind-bogglingly simple to do. One of the hacks is garrison trapping. And if you don't know what garrison trapping is, pretty much all you do, take an account. It really, technically, just to start off the bat, you need 2 accounts to do this, okay? But the very first thing you do is you take the first account and you fill it full of resources. And funny enough, all you really need from this castle is to at least let you know what is being sent at you. So you need to have a level 25 watchtower if you really want to make use of this. Okay, and really all you're doing is buying, your time so that you're able to see what's coming. Okay, and so what you basically do is you fill this account to the brim in resources. You can do that any number of ways. It doesn't really matter how you do it. But what you'll do is you'll have this castle sit out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and you'll have people come by and solo it because naturally during KVK, even during just normal hours, people are going to scout that castle, going to see how much is in it, and the first thing they're going to do is, this looks juicy. I think I'll solo and I'll send my infantry to pick it up. Now you will get a lot of people that'll send T2. That's how they counteract the issue. But a lot of people get greedy and they send their T4s and their T5s. Now, believe it or not, if somebody sends a bunch of infantry and you conveniently send a garrison at that castle, every single route or march that comes after your garrison, if that castle you garrisoned randoms, your garrison shows up in their castle first, and then every preceding march that was sent then hits your garrison. And as you might expect, if you're sitting in Cav gear with Cav Wedge or Cav Phalanx, and they're sending infantry without their lead or with their lead, they're going to get completely obliterated. So you can get a stupid amount of kills this way. I've done it many times, but I am surprised at how few people know how to do that. Such a simple concept, and it doesn't have to be cavalry. It can be range. It can be infantry. And the funny thing is, the other guy on the other end has to guess. And it becomes a guessing game as to which march are you sending. And they're not going to know that. They could stare at your gear, but you don't even have to tell them that. And so, and in a way, you could even bait different types of marches. If they see your march walking, they'll obviously try to cancel. So it is kind of a timing thing, right? But it can be done in such a way that, personally, I feel like if you are going to do it, the best way to do garrison traps is basically set up your castle bait gear. So if you're sending like Cav, sit in range gear, because the first thing they're going to do is go, well, he has to be sending range. So you'd be surprised to how few people who try to counteract it know what to do, even in those circumstances. And the fun thing is you can pick and choose your battles too, because if you're on that account as those marches are coming, you can also see what's coming at you, and you know that every march after that garrison is ripe for the picking. So you have the advantage of getting to screw with people, which is kind of fun. And it also segues into a different type of strategy known as Griffin trapping. And so this is the second hack in this game, which is that they basically created an ability called Homeward Bind. All right, and all you have to do is get this ability maxed out. And once you have Homeward Bind maxed out, the idea and principle is basically build enough T4 and T5 in your account to hold up to 8 marches worth. And you can also multiply this if you happen to have a full sanctuary, up to around, I think, it gets pretty stupid actually how much you can actually hide. But the idea here in principle is the more you can hide, the less people are going to be able to do anything about it. So ultimately, the way a Griffin trap works is you basically have a stupid amount of troops. You just send these over into different castles, preferably in shielded castles because you don't want to lose your troops. And a lot of the time, people love to do this as the bank. So all this does is take out the middleman in the garrison trap. It's all a Griffin trap does. And so now, instead of being the castle that randoms, you're still the castle that randoms. You just don't need a march garrisoning to come and get you. Now, the downside to this strategy is that, yes, it has got a timer, so it's a one-time thing. Whereas a garrison trap, you can do that as many times as you like. And the only disadvantage is whether or not other people are going to spat information and spread it around and tell others, hey, that's a trap. that's the only disadvantage. So if you change your name, change your castle skin, and change your hero, chances are the only information they're going to have is your might and what guild you were in. So you can very easily there are ways to thwart that. And so in some ways, even in multiple kingdom KBKs, even it's not uncommon to screw with all three kingdoms doing this. I've done it so many times. It's actually quite a lot of fun. But when doing a Griffin trap, all you need to do is basically pick out a place where you obviously want to do this in an area where you're not really close. I mean, it's not that you can't do it, it's just not as you only get 6 seconds. Okay. And so in a perfect world, you tend to want to pick islands, but I think a lot of people have already picked up on what's going on. So islands are not as common anymore, but I see a lot of people, what they do is they'll actually just join in a hive, and so they'll put themselves in the middle of a hive near base, is what they do. And that seems to work pretty well because you just need enough time to get enough marches walking. That's really all you're trying to do. Because the more marches you have walking on you, the more guilds, people, etc. that you can screw with. And so all you do is basically once you're ready to go, a lot of the time people will sit in calf wedge for the same type of bait with a garrison trap. They're baiting inf marches when they do these. So somebody comes by and scouts them, sees they're empty, sees a bunch of resources, naturally wants to send infantry. Now you could just as easily bait that with even some fluff range troops, okay, just to bait it even further. But the idea is that a bunch of solos will come at you, you pull your garrison, and then random, and like a garrison trap, you effectively screw up the guy pretty damn royally that way. And it's funny, but the only downside to a Griffin is that you only get to do it once. So it's one of those things that, you've got it, but you'll have to wait until the time is done in order to continue doing it. That's the only downside with that strategy. Now, the third hack in Lord's Mobile that I think a lot of people are aware of, but maybe not a lot of the newer player base, is HephBot. And it's HephBot. Okay, HephBot is basically a Discord bot or a line bot, for that matter, that will tell you whenever there is a certain type of event going on, whether that be a hell event, a training event, a range event, whether or not you're trying to do Watcher or Chaos Dragon. It's a stupid, simple way to get yourself alerted to when certain events occur in the game. So if you aren't already aware of this, you can actually join my Discord in the comments section description below. Okay, and if you just want to be alerted to things, you can join the Discord and just let me know, and I'll throw a roll onto you, and then it'll just alert you in the HephBot channel chat that hey, this event is occurring, and it'll just let you know in advance. It's really handy if you're trying to work on Watcher or Chaos Dragon, and whether or not there's a maintenance coming up, what daily packs are coming out. Like, there's a lot of features in HephBot that are really nice. And you can also set it up in your own Discord or line groups. And so it's something I highly recommend, but it's one of those utensils that not a lot of people have heard about, and the few that do are definitely kicking along like no one's business. And they obviously have what I describe as a priority benefit that comes along with HephBot. So again, if you're looking into it, I totally recommend getting it. They're really nice utensil to have. Outside of that, though, that is pretty much everything in regards to the 3 hacks that I had for you today. So if you would please like the video, and I'll see you guys next time.